Ladies and gentlemen, after a little bit of a longer pause than we wanted, there seems to be there was a little bit of a dispute on the lobby, which has hence now been resolved. But now I believe with the third-party drafting program that is used by pretty much all tournaments across the board, is not responding appropriately. So we're going way back. We're going way back here, Wade, to text drafting. Whew, I'm
Yeah.
feeling nostalgic.
Yeah, yeah, are we? A little bit, huh? I'm actually going to try and simulate their draft in chat through a Heroes draft really quick. If it doesn't lag too hard, I might be able to. The map is going to be Dragonshire, the first team. I don't remember who gets the pick band. We're just going to do it
We're doing
like
it, man. We're
this.
winging it.
We're going to be doing it live here, ladies and gentlemen.
So it looks like what happened is
Are you okay?
DasGo banned Zagara. I'm sorry, no. Blank banned Zagara. DasGo banned Tyrande. Then they first picked Kael'thas, and then DasGo picked Sonya and Falstad as their first two picks.
I just want to say, if I pull this out before my stream,
You'll
any
be a
of my
god.
actual viewers
You
who
will
complain
be
about my production value,
a god.
I'm about to self-draft to bring this up for you guys. So what is the first pick? What does the first team do?
First pick was for DasGo.
I don't even care about the teams. Just tell me the first ban.
Okay, first pick. First ban was Zagara.
Zagara. Okay, nice. So
Second-
remove the top lane. I got to find her really
Nice.
quick. I apologize for this.
Nice.
All right,
I know
Zagara's
you
going
haven't
to...
drafted in a while.
Zag is banned out. All right, then we have
Nice.
a response of Thrall.
Tyrande.
Tyrande. Nice. Okay, was Thrall
Nice,
first
yeah,
pick then?
totes. No, Kael'thas was.
Interesting. And then Thrall is a
is.
response, right?
Nope.
Team?
Sonya
What?
Falstad.
Damn, that's insane. All right, hold on. I can't believe that. We'll get to that later. All right, Tyrande, what was the first pick again? I forgot. I'm so bad at this game.
Kael'thas.
KT. And then Falstad Sonya? What did you say?
That's right.
Sonya
Falstad Sonya. Yep.
Huh.
And that was yep. And now we have Blank deciding on their next two picks. Or I'm sorry, one. Yes, their next two picks going into, and it's going to be there. It is Thrall, Johanna.
I am still worrying about Falstad. Found a Falstad here. And then Thrall, and then Johanna.
Yep.
All right, here.
You're doing great, man. Keep
I'm
up the strong
drafting.
work.
I'm drafting against myself here. It's a pretty hard time. Johanna, where are you, Johanna? Johanna.
It's a good song.
Johanna. There we go. We are up to draft. All right.
Okay.
So there's going to be a ban here on the medic,
There is.
ladies and gentlemen. Let me go to
Lieutenant
the
Morales. The
Boom.
equation.
Morales out of the equation here. All right. So what do we expect out of team one here? Sorry, that is first pick team. I don't have the names fixed properly.
I think it's gonna be an Uther ban.
You're cheating because you read it
What's
in
leading
chat?
me to believe that is because that's what they said.
Yeah, you can tell it's a Uther ban because of the way it is.
Yes, because they spelled out Uther in chat. So I'm pretty sure it's an Uther ban.
I mean, that's pretty neat, you know? Okay, I gotta
It is.
stop. I'm done with those references. Anyways,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, here, Falstad and Sonya are gonna be picked up here. Keep in mind the top lane matchup right now is kind of dead even with the Zagara being removed from the equation.
Yeah.
It is gonna be a Thrall and a Sonya gonna be match up here in the top lane. We are worried about the rotations, which is where that Johanna pick does come into play here. Bam, we already have the next two picks here as well. It is going to be Tassadar and Leoric.
LEO, law enforcement officer,
All
on the
right.
board. I hope it's another Space Lord Leoric because that
Absolutely.
is wonderful.
Yeah, and so we see the wave clear is going to go kind of right now. Falstad is probably going to be able to not. They might send Falstad in the solo. I don't think that's going to be the case, but they possibly could. They have a lot of good
They
solos
could.
here from Team 2 in the second bin. But they also have a decent amount of wave clear, and Sully is going to be decent in that 1v1. Tassadar could also take that 1v1. But a lot of it's going to come down to all the top lane is going to be almost kind of a stalemate-esque. Thrall, if anything, kind of wins the lanes by a little bit, but not by a large margin. So a lot of it's going to come down to that four-man rotations with the rest of this draft here, ladies and gentlemen. And we do have Johanna with the great wave clear, Kael'thas with the great wave clear. Again, everybody hates Jaina. I'm not even going to act like this hero exists in the video game anymore at this point. So what do we want to see out of Team 1 here? First pick. They have the Kael'thas. They have the Johanna. What else can accent their wave clear? Jaina, Vala. I don't think it's going to be Jaina because of the Kel'Thas, and everybody hates it. Vala's been kind of the go-to for everybody. Sylvanas has a decent amount of wave clear. That's something that we want to be looking out for here. Overall, they do have Thrall with that really great engage. Johanna's going to exit it with the D shield. I'm running out of time, so hopefully make these picks soon. Otherwise, it's going to RNGesus here for me in this pick ban phase, and all my work is going to go down to nothing here because I have 8 seconds left before they pick. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I'm just going to wing it.
All right, man. You're winging it?
I'm guessing Vala. Raynor Rhaegar, no!
Oh, rip.
Raynor Rhaegar, all right, so that is not a Vala, that is going to be a Raynor. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I am absolutely doing my best to try and make this not look like just a bunch of text.
You are nailing this, man. With one exception, you're nailing this, my man.
With one exception here.
With one exception.
All right, so,
I would say you're better than what I would able to. I don't even know how that draft thing works. You obviously have a lot more experience than I do. I just look at it. I don't actually draft.
I don't draft either. I just stare at it as well. Like, I played for competitive for 2 years, but I've actually never even opened this thing. Hello?
Oh yeah. Who was your drafter on the old Temple Storm?
It changed game to game. Honestly,
was okay.
There were certain people. Everybody had an influence. There were certain times where some people would have more influence than others, depending on the map, the meta, everything else.
Right.
And then Malfurion is going to be locked in here as this final pick. All right, so let's look at these two compositions. Keep in mind that Vala is actually not a Vala. That is a big fat Raynor.
That is.
Here, let me help out here a little bit. I can make this a little bit more clear. But anyways, looking at these compositions, who do you think is going to be winning this comp overall, or who wins compositionally overall? Right there, boom.
I have to take a look at both of them. Obviously, Malfurion generally plays pretty well with double warrior, but Sonya and Leoric aren't the tankiest in the world. But they do have a Tassadar to help do damage mitigation, obviously, and soak up a lot of damage with his shields. On the other side of the field, you have Kael'thas, you have Thrall. That's just the wave clear is phenomenal. Their pushing ability is really good. Their initiation is great. Johanna obviously is pretty decent at being on the shrine and holding her ground on top of the shrine to force out Dragon Knights. So ultimately, I want to say it's gonna come down to the team with I don't know which team it is. I'm sorry, but I want to say it's the team with Thrall on it. Thrall Kael'thas. That's just so much damage, so deadly, and that is going to be okay. So that is Team Blank that has the Thrall. I don't know, man. I think I like their draft a little bit more.
As long as they dictate the pace of the game, and they're gonna. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Is they as long as they do well with the wave clear situation, but they're facing a Tassadar, Malfurion, and Leoric, that is absurd amount of wave clear in that tri-lane, no matter who you put in the top lane. So I don't know how well Thrall wins that matchup in the upper half of the map. I believe that he dictates the pace of it pretty well, especially if they put somebody more ranged, because he allows to get him a lot of poke without that self-sustain to keep up with him. But I agree. I think if this game makes it to the late game and it's going to be on even footing, I do agree with you. I think they overall have the better composition. But I think the wave clear that DasGo has is going to be able to give them enough to dictate the pace of this game to snowball the lead far enough that I think with how composed they were last game with their shot calling decision making, that I'm going to put my money compositionally. I think I'm going to give it with Blank, but overall I think that DasGo is going to get a snowballed lead here, and I think Blank will show once again their decision making to be a little bit weak here in the later half of the game here. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. On the left hand side in the blue trunks, we do actually have DasGo one more time. Are going to be here. We have Gorjaz on the Sonya once again, and then the Leoric. Yoda is going to be on that Tassadar. Falstad is going to be C9 Shet this game, and Malfurion is going to be, once again, my old teammate, Mad Timmy.
And on the right side of the map in red is going to be Matre on Kael'thas, Craigie on Raynor, Zugrug on the Johanna, Games Chest on the Rhaegar, and of course Aragi on the Thrall right there. And the proverbial bumping of the fists in the mid lane has commenced, and these guys are maybe going to find a pick off against each other. But don't think that's going to be happening. So yeah, it's so pivotal. It's so important for these teams to have a strong wave clear. Put your best soul laner on top, wave clear, and sweep between the lanes. Johanna going in. Got to be careful. Iron Skin's already on cooldown. She's rooted up. She might be the first blood. She's under a lot of trouble. Can they secure the takedown? They do. So an easy first blood onto the Johanna. Now they're trying to get another one onto the Rhaegar. Game Chess is in trouble. If this Ancient Spear lands, he's going to be going down. He's trying to juke. He's trying to dive. He's trying to get away. But he doesn't. 2 easy takedowns right there. And that's a good way to start a game right there, Dreadnought.
Especially when you're the team that has the better wave clear over your opponents as well. That is a huge lead for them here. Not only is it 2 kills, but it's going to dictate the pace of the rotations as well, because keep in mind, these rotations are now 4 versus 5 at the time being. Sonya recognizes this and instantly goes top to try and influence that lane a little bit as well. It looks like they might be positioning for a little bit of an early DK here. False Edge with the dash over the wall. I like that out of him. Mad Timmy has actually hit 2 great roots this game without Elune's Grace already.
Yeah.
So really well done from Timmy here in the early game. Sonya now going to her respective lane as we were talking about this matchup. I think it does go a little bit in favor of Thrall, but not too much there. And the wave clear now coming into play here. If I felt like the kill potential wasn't more in favor of Blank here as a team, and they lost the kill potential early on, so I'm really afraid with the weak wave clear that they have to see how this game plays out.
So the both the Shrines in firm control of Team Blink right now. And despite the fact that they got taken out, they gave away 2 takedowns early on, they're doing an okay job at dealing with Shrine control. But obviously, it's immediately going to be picked up by DasGo. Mad Timmy, I know that he has been one of the... When Malfurion fell out of fashion, he actually loved playing Malfurion.
Yeah.
As far as I know, you're obviously an old teammate of him, so that's a comfort pick for him, and he's got to be loving it, because Malfurion has received a lot of love about a week or so ago.
Fawcett actually getting a really slow rotation here in the mid lane. He is going to be able to stop Raynor in this 1v1. So, but you are correct actually. Mad Timmy, when the Zebo came to rise once more, Mad Timmy, even though Malfurion was considered a weaker healer, was one of the few that actually absolutely loved Malfurion. So. I think Solid Jake even nicknamed him Mad Furion just for that sake, because of how much Mad Timmy was willing to play him.
That is a fitting name. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So really well done. I'm going to get a little bit of harass here in the mid lane. Rotations, even though they might have the early wave clear with the early 2 kills, Mad Timmy maybe getting caught out there. No, it isn't. They're now falling behind in the wave clear. So this is absolutely what DasGo, Blank needs to come back in this game. But Zugrug a little bit out of position. He does have Iron Skin, though. He will be able to walk away with this. Raynor with a beautiful flank. Mad Timmy getting blown up really hard there. There we go. That a little bit of changes, though. Tassadar keeping the shield up, keeping him alive. Also, the changes to Malfurion, allowing him to heal up a lot more in the early game. And the rotations now falling back in the 4-man rotation is going to be in favor of DasGo a little bit here. But I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Again, in the top lane, we see Aragi winning that. So I was correct, at least right now. Thrall is dictating the pace of that top lane. So as long as this 4-man is going to be won here from the wave clear of DasGo, they actually might have a potential to get an early DK.
Yep. And now, so early on with Dragon Knights, they aren't too much of an impactful pickup, but so they're not really things that teams will throw themselves headlong on to pick off. Now, in the late game, Dragon Knights at a certain point, just winning the game. Oh man, Rainer's in trouble. His give me more. His adrenaline rush is going to keep him up for a little bit longer, but he's ultimately going to go down. So that is a 3rd takedown going over to DasGo. Now with level 7 online, they're in firm control. That's a pickoff that is just going to once again allow them to gain control of these waves in the middle and in the bottom lane. So Zugrug is trying to get on top of that shrine, but immediately recognizes he needs to get out of there. Wave is cleared up once again, and it's just this battleground, man. Within the Bermuda Triangle in between mid and bottom lane, it just comes down to who can dictate the control of the minions.
I mean, exactly, because those shrines can be dominated. Those lanes can be dominated to control the shrines. Not only do they give you sight, but they also give you the opportunity to take a DK here, which is why having a strong 4-man and solo lane is really important here. And Mad Timmy, again, decided to go with the rampant growth. No cleanse here coming out of him in the late game. That might be, I think it's not a bad pickup for him. Could be a little bit risk later on. We might see a chain CC combo that's going to hurt them, again, especially against the Thrall and such, but they're going to get away with here. He's been hitting really good roots this whole game without rampant growth. And so it's really good, well done. Aragi, again, establishing dominance in that top lane. Maybe looking for kill potential right here, just getting the harass as best he can while his team tries to win this 4 lane. A half-level lead experience is going to go in favor of DasGo, but it's not going to mean that much. A lot of it, like I said, is just going to matter about these rotations. One thing to keep in mind, they've been splitting up on these rotations. Yes, they have drained, but they haven't pushed a single front wall, and they haven't really dominated, honestly, the rotations because they're keeping one person mid at all points, and I personally feel like that's setting them behind in this game. I feel like they would have at least a front wall at this point and be dictating the pace, the race to level 10, which then would be a DK in their half here. So I feel like, yes, they are winning, but I don't feel like they're winning nearly as hard as they could with their composition.
Up in top lane, it's still a resident sleeper. Neither of these guys really establishing anyone of a lead. Basically, Thrall does a little bit of damage to Gorjaws, and he just immediately heals up with Whirlwind, as we just saw up there in the top lane. Bottom lane, Iron Skin is now on cooldown. Johanna's got to be careful. She's going to be able to get away to safety there, and Sheth has been rotating there. And yeah, I wonder what the decision is to keep someone dedicated to that mid lane when instead they could just be dedicating themselves using their superior wave clear to just be pushing those in, picking up some structures. Nonetheless, they still have netted themselves a sizable experience advantage now at level 10, well before their opponents, and it looks like some standard stuff across the board. And it's and as I say that, Yoda picks up Archon. Hold that thought, though. The Thrall's in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down, and that is going to be yet the 4th takedown for DasGo. But what do you think about this Archon pickup here?
I want to avoid the Archon conversation first and take a minute to appreciate the fact that the minute DasGo hit level 10, Paul said flew top, uses ult to confirm a kill. Leoric went bottom, confirmed a kill. The 2 lanes that have the shrines, which instantly leads to a DK. That was almost flawless on their half. That was absolutely beautiful. So now let's talk about the Archon. Where does this sit? It's not the worst decision in the world, really, when it comes down to it. Tassadar doesn't need to be going force wall in every situation. They struggle a little bit on the damage aspect, and that might be what they go for. And also, Archon's really good at absorbing damage, and they only have a Leoric, really, to be the front line again in this game with the Sonya as well. So I can see them trying to abuse that to get hyper aggression on the back line on the Raynor and diving him, using the double E, the heals to make everything work out for their team. So I don't hate the choice. I don't know if it would have been my go-to. I'm actually more interested with Thrall looking to get the Frostwolf's Grace at level 7. I wonder if that was just an overall decision that he feels more comfortable with, or he did it for the lane matchup a little bit more. But Gorja's suiciding that DK a little bit too early here. Whatever team dictates the pace of these Merc camps right after this is really what's going to have the lead over the next DK for the most part. And 13 tier advantage is definitely going to be led by DasGo here, Shane.
Yeah, and that's pretty important. As much damage as they can do to the Kael'thas team before he hits level 13, the better it will go. A little bit of a harassment onto Yoda, but he's fine. He's going to get away. So now these teams, as you mentioned, are going to fall back to their mercenary camps. Thrall and Sonya were duking it out a little bit, and Thrall had to get himself the hell out of dodge. And these teams are just a lot of posturing, a lot of trying to feel each other out, and finally initiation on Mad Timmy. He doesn't have Ice Block. Follow-up is there, Ham Adjusters, the Sundering to try to do what he can. There's Tranquility. Finally, Mad Timmy's somehow still alive.
They hit 13 mil of Ice Block.
So valuable right there. And the Tranquility being popped, Mighty Gust is generally very good at dealing with that, but of course they don't have it on their team to push him away. So a lot of heroics being used on both sides of the field. No one going down quite yet. Sonya is in the top lane pushing very, very hard. So this is just building a further experience advantage and also taking down very, very important structures. Thrall is now finally responding up here. But the lane is pushed in, and this is, I mean, level 13 talents online. I feel like despite that team fight not going one side or the other, they could definitely go up against these Siege Ogres. They do. They're a little bit too late. There's the root onto Rhaegar. Does he have to force the ancestral healing? Actually, he's not going to have it. It's on cooldown, and he goes down. So finally, there's some secondary initiation after that primary team fight, and the fight continues. Mighty Gus is going to secure the getaway of On. He's going to be able to get out of there. They're going to be happy with the Rhaegar takedown. They were looking for the Siege Ogres, but still a favorable exchange for them nonetheless, Dread.
Yeah, absolutely. And by taking the camp there and getting that pick, whereas before they were going to be, yes, they had the 13 tier advantage, but they were going to be a little bit behind when it comes to the Merc control in order to control these shrines. They have a big enough lead now. They do have a little bit of time possible to get on camp. It doesn't look, they might look to take the Giants there. The reason the Merc control is so powerful on this map for the upper and lower half of the map is because it pushes in the lane where there's the shrines, which allows you to have more vision and force bad rotations out of your opponents. That's why they're so crucial in between this DK phase, and why these teams like this, you see them concentrating this as best as they can here. They're also looking to get the 13 here, talent here from Blank, but they're giving up a DK. What they did there was actually Gate decided to take a night camp while they were losing bottom and losing top, which led to an instant DK from them. That was honestly, kind of shows a little bit of their kind of collapse, panic decision-making as a team, knowing that that's what they wanted to do, but then overcommitting to it after they lose the initial team fight on the Merc control there. Really good decision-making from Blank, or DasGo, sorry, to initiate on that type of team fight. But Yoda, even though he does have the DK and his team has the advantage, he's kind of getting zero value out of this DK. He's just letting it take full damage in this 5-man kill. You see Sonya soaking on bottom Blessed Shield, trying to get that team fight. He has Ice Block. The Gust going to come out, and they're going to walk away from this team fight.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. They're going to try to initiate. Yoda actually using the, oh man, the Sundering, doing nothing whatsoever.
Sonya
right
flank on Grainer.
Oh man, there's the Ancestral Healing Door forced out. There's an aggressive Wraith walk forward right there. He's got to be careful, realizing his team was not following up. Falling back up to the north, though. Rainer's in trouble. Chain heals there. The knockback from Rainer's Q is going to secure it. Now the turn onto Rhaegar, and now Matre out of position as well. This is a scrappy team fight. They're split. They're split. We see what happens. This is there's a big two-man entomb. Where's the follow-up, though? The targets just keep switching back and forth. There's a Tranquility, and this might be the go time for DasGo to finally take the team fight right here. There is another big heal onto Raynor. You just can't take down that Raynor. The chain heal is keeping him alive, but unfortunately, chain heal having a relatively long cooldown before level 16. They switch to the kill boss. They get the takedown, and soon to have level 16 as well. This is 7 takedowns to 0, 11.5 minutes in. There is no Dragon Knight for them to fall back on, but they can still take these outer structures, fall back to the mercenary camps, and really just cement themselves a excellent foothold right here as they try to just wait out for level 20, those Stormtier Talons.
Yeah, now we sit at a point in the game, too, where it's a 2-level lead here, 16-tier advantage, which is the third most valuable talent tier in the entire game. Doesn't look like they're going to do anything. They're just going to force their advantage wherever they can, waiting for the next DK to spawn, knowing that with this big of a level lead, they don't really have to do anything crazy here. Just take all the small objectives wherever they possibly can. There you go. They're going to take their Giants. They're going to paint the map blue. They're going to get the all the minion waves pushing in their favor, and then lead to another DK here. So you see the cap here. In 30 seconds, the Shrine's going to spawn. They're most likely going to back out, take Giants, look to take Knights, send Falstead to the upper half of the map, look to cap there, force the team fight on bottom with the Falstead's global, or if they don't force the team fight on bottom, they'll just be looking to force the DK. Most likely you won't see that decision making coming out of DasGo, and that's mainly because Blank shouldn't be looking to contest a fight at any point. They do end up sending Sonya, so the global is going to be, the advantage will be on the upper team fight, but again, this is really just Blank falling a little bit too far behind here. This talent tier is absolutely damning to their success here in this game.
It is. So, the Dragon Shrines both taken. Falstad sweeping up to the mid lane with his global strength. And this is going to be a completely uncontested Dragon Knight. So the third one in a row. That's a hat trick. And they're going to be putting pressure down this middle lane. The other Dragon Knights haven't had much value here, but I think this one is going to be probably getting the damage. They're going to put a priority on the structures down in the bottom lane and then look to either get a pick off or slow siege down these inner structures. What
I really want to talk about here is the beautiful decision making to decide to go bottom rather than focusing on mid. It really shows the shot calling and composure that DasGo has been showing this entire game. They realized, yes, we could take out the mid keep fort, and we could, or front wall, excuse me, but instead they decided to go with bottom, take that advantage as well. And the reason for that is because the bottom lane, ladies and gentlemen, is actually more valuable on this map than every other lane. What it does is it pushes and cripples the vision and probability of your opponent getting another DK. Top is really risky to siege into because the bridge is such a small tokehold that could lead to a big fight. So they take the DK bottom, the safest lane to siege on, but also the most valuable to siege on, and they look to take the fight there. So really smart from DasGo here, but they do take a lot of poke here. Malfurion with the great heals, keeping everybody up. Sunder might come out for a team fight here if they manage to hit 16 here, Shane.
Yeah, it's really, really close, but they have to get the experience. They're obviously not able to soak in any other lanes. They have to deal with this push down to the bottom lane. They do keep the keep alive. Level 16 is almost here. They want it. They need it. There's a Mighty Gust to secure the getaway. I like that Mighty Gust. You can tell they were sensing the initiation. They saw the Thrall was winding up that Sundering. So good, a Mighty Gust right there. And I like liberal applications of it because it's such a short cooldown. It's only a 40-second cooldown. So that's going to mean they're going to fall back, that they're going to continue to have this momentum, pick up mercenary camps, and continue to just be a force in this match.
Yeah, and we are going to see that Blank, excuse me, is going to be pushing up bottom, taking out a free front wall here, but it's not going to do enough to catch him up in the XP world. It's going to be interesting to see. We have two decisions from DasGo here. They can actually decide to push on mid or force the rotation here and take the fight where they don't have a talent tier advantage. This is one of the only fights. Actually, Sonya is going to be taking the night camp. Keep in mind, this will be a 5 vs 4 if they initiate.
They're looking for it here, man. And this is when they need to take a team fight because it's before level 20 for DasGo. It'd be so important. They do pick up the fort. At this stage of the game, the fort isn't the biggest deal in the world. It really doesn't yield as much experience advantage as it would in the mid part of the game. But a little bit of party bush here Oh, man.
The
Sheth,
Sunder.
oh, no, Sheth. Where's the Sundering? They're following in. The barrel roll away. Mad Timmy's a target, but he is Ice Block. Yoda's in trouble. He has Prescience, and he has Dimensional Shift, so that's okay. And Entomb on the 2, but right now, Leoric's by himself. Tassadar does go down. The squishiest, slippery target has gone down. And once again, another scrappy team fight coming out of these two teams. Leoric, I don't know if he has Wraith Walk. If he doesn't, he's going to be going down. So 2 takedowns right there for Blank, and that's exactly what they needed to do. And now with the Shrines activating in 13 seconds, this is an opportunity that they need. They have to clear top. Top's under a lot of siege damage, but clear these lanes out, push the lanes out, maybe go aggressive on these siege ogre camps, fall back to the Shrines, and try to take a map control back, but more importantly, narrow the gap of experience. They need level 20 online as soon as they can get it.
Wow, and they're going to take this fight as a 3 versus 3 here. Really cocky positioning coming out from DasGo. Blank there. They realized that they had the man advantage. This is actually interesting. Both teams decided twice in a row. The beautiful Gus there are going to split it. Aragi's, it looks like he's going to walk away. No Sunder for the counter initiation here. And the DK is about to spawn. If you look at both of those situations that we just saw with these picks, we did see that Blank was able to make a minor tempo swing in their favor to try and come back in this game. But that was all because DasGo actually counted on their opponents making a poor rotation and just 100% expected that they wouldn't be in this Bermuda Triangle of death there.
Yeah.
And then you see the exact same thing happen on the other way, where Blank, because they get 2 picks, expect that their opponents aren't going to take a contest. So they send 3 people to the Giants and then take a 3 versus 3 fight. One of the only opportunities they have to lose. Both teams getting a little bit too confident, which ends up leading to one mistake into the next there. Then this is going to be, again, a DK going in favor of DasGo. Blank, if they have been able to capitalize on that, they might have seen something major. It looks like with 20 advantage, they should be looking to get bottom keep. They instantly rotate there. They aren't even going to risk mid keep. Oh, I guess it looks like they're going to take mid there.
Yep.
I would like to see him take the keep more than anything, because this is essentially risking not getting a keep. They do have 20 advantage, yes, but they also have really good anti-siege. Raynor, Kil'Thas, this is hard to siege into.
It is. It's very hard to siege into. They're level 19, but they have to respect those level 20 Storm tier talents. They're so important. We see that Malfurion has a Storm Shield, the Epic Flight coming out of the Falstad, and of course the Hardened Shield, and the big one's the Archon. Now Archon's a huge damage increase. It's going to be putting out significant numbers. And right now, I think this is just a slow siege, utilizing the Dragonite. Storm Shields pop. They're going to get the keep. Are they going to go for
huge Entomb?
3-man Entomb, but where's the follow-up? They're focused down Madre. Arcan Barrier and Ancestral Healing on cooldown. Our Raiders in trouble, but Leoric is down. Leoric is down, and so is the Johanna. So 1 for 1, a warrior for a warrior. The Dragon Knight is still doing work right now. It's pretty low on health. They take down the Raynor. This might be the game, but Sony's in trouble. If they get a Sony here, they might be able to keep themselves in this match. But the Dragon Knight still getting value, is still getting down the shield on the core.
They have
now
the
it's
Gust
taking structural
zone.
damage. The Gust, yeah, there it is. There's the Gust. Focus down the core. Yoda's very low. Mad Timmy's low, but they have to respect the Kil'Thas. They have to respect the Kil'Thas. Huge damage going down. The core's at 20%. Oh, no, Dreadnought. I think they might. The Sonya. It comes down to the Sonya. She's spinning, but she ain't going to be winning. Leoric's going to be spawning here.
He can't
and
do
wow,
it, I don't think.
they have to engage on him here. They have to. It's going to be close, 12%. He's going to Wraith Walk away. He's trying to do what he can. If he dies again, it might be bad. 8%. It's going to be close, 6%. They take him down. A successful defense right there from Team Blank, and a huge just overstay of the welcome on the side of DasGo. Can they win the game here?
It's going to be very, very difficult for them to do it. They're going to kill a sidewall here, most likely this one. They're trying not to get dismounted here. Keep in mind, Matre and Aragi both went the wrong way, so now they're losing time with that dismount there. It's not going to be enough for them to win the game. They also go for the wrong wall here. They have nobody tank it. They have no chance. They aren't even going to get a keep here in response. It was all because of that Leoric spawning disabled their ability to do this, but also they took essentially the worst route possible in this type of situation. Keep in mind, they wouldn't have gotten much out of it even if they took the best route. They're trying to make something happen here. A 6% core is they have to force the fight on their opponent's half of the map, because if they even let it go past the half court line here in the middle of the game, it will be essentially a swing in their favor. Huge Entomb coming out there, gonna get eyes on his opponent. He's passing the chain bomb, but all that only happened because they. Oh, beautiful route there. Counter Sunder.
Oh. Sundering out there. Mad Timmy's in trouble. He uses the Storm Shield. I'm not sure if he has Ice Block online or not, but even if he doesn't, Raynor is going to bolter the Storm away. That's a pretty important cooldown.
They have to take this fight. They're running away while they have a 6% core. They have to turn. It's improbable, but they have to turn here, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the core. That's the big disposition there, the big disadvantage that they're at, and they're basically letting them walk into the
Yep.
core. I don't know why they're not taking a team
It's
fight here.
game.
This is poor decision making, and that one decision right there might cost them the match. Matry's going to fall to the Storm away, but that's not a big deal. It's the core that wins you the game. Hyperion going down. The Tranquility is going to keep everyone nice and healthy and alive. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that it will be the nail in the coffin. That is going to be DasGo taking game number 2, taking the big old $100 here for Divergent Amateur Series. What a match right there. Game number 1, Wade. That was an incredible game number 1. Game number 2 as well. 10 takedowns to 9. Absolutely. It was a long game. Not quite as even as the other one, but still a lot of respect for both of these teams. Ultimately, DasGo comes out the victor.
Yeah, and really, that last game, there was a lot of awesome decision-making where the teams understood the situations that they were in, what they needed to make happen. Honestly, that initial call coming out from DasGo to go on the core wasn't a terrible decision, except they did make the very poor decision of deciding to group. Not only is that bad when you're facing against a Kael'thas, but it's a terrible decision to group at any point when you're going for the core. The reasoning for that is because it's totally okay if, like, let's say you lose one person while you're diving the core, and it is obviously a 6% core. It's getting very, very weak, and it's going to be close. What you want to happen is not only do they have massive AoE spells, but if one of you is about to die and you move away from the core, you never want it to be a situation where multiple people are running from the core at the exact same time. And by grouping in that huge chokehold, let's take away the chain bomb, which obviously in this situation was the deciding factor. You never want it to be where my Rainer's about to die, he's going to run away, but he has so many people near him that you all have to move together. And that was exactly what you saw at the end there. They ended up losing the game there, and then they're trying to do their best to make something happen in this type of situation. Shout out to Blank for at least attempting, realizing how desperate they were at that point. I really do wish they had turned around for that team fight, but they did play very, very well that game. So definitely, again, a little bit of a kind of a panic coming from Blank at certain points during that game, but they definitely played it very well. And DasGo being I guess we could call him the dark horse. Not really. We definitely recognize these names, but I didn't know who they were coming into it. So I mean, we'll keep it as an underdog story here today, Shane.
Not to take away from Team Blink at all, though. They are a team who have been in the scene for a very long time, and even though it was a 2-0, that really doesn't speak about how well they played. Game number 1 was such a fun and exciting game, man. That was one of the most fun games I've casted in a long time, and game number 2 as well. So, guys, this, of course, one last and final congratulations to DasGo. It looks like a little bit of a motley crew team that was formed up, and they are yielding success for them. I'm wondering if we're going to see this team together in the future, if this was just kind of a one-time thing, let's get together, or if this is something more serious. I certainly hope it is something more serious, because impressive play, and it will be exciting to see if they continue to put that up, guys. So that is going to them getting the $100. I am Shane Gucher. Of course, this is Dreadnought. This is the Divergent Amateur Series brought to you by our wonderful sponsor of Red Rookie. Give them a shout out, guys. Let them know. Thank you for the support. Dreadnought, what are your final thoughts on the finals, on the match, and on the tournament as a whole tonight?
I feel like as a whole, every time I would cast this tournament, that overall the amateur scene is getting better and better and better. I definitely, and I as shot calling, decision making, everything else, it is slowly getting down, honing itself in to be a better group of players to be able to compete with the professional level. At the same time, I think as today was probably the most I guess, revealing of when it really comes down to the absolute tense moments of that decision making is when you can still see that it falls apart and kind of separates what is pro and what is amateur level play when it comes to Heroes of the Storm here. But I mean, you can't blame them. You have to put yourself in those positions over and over and over again to where you can finally remove your emotions, remove your fear, and just realize objectively what I have to do in this type of situation. So I mean, but that overall is what I would say is the general theme of this tournament. And again, a big shout out to each and every one of you guys tuning in here today. I really do appreciate it. And then, I mean, that's pretty much it for me, Shane. Where can people find you? You have any big shout-outs you want to do before the end of the tournament, anything like that?
Big shout-out to the guys of Divergent Gaming, specifically to Bishop, the guy who's pretty much been my main liaison in this for introducing me to this wonderful amateur series and ultimately inviting me to come cast, guys. I obviously can't talk too much about events in the future just because I don't know. I don't have that much knowledge on them, but I can tell you with good assurance that Divergent Gaming is here for the long run and are trying to, in the process of developing bigger and better things in the near future. So stay tuned, keep an eye, follow the channel if you haven't done so already. And also, big shout out to you, Dread. It was a great time. We finally got to cast together.
Yeah.
And as far as I could tell, Twitch feedback is probably the most ruthless criticism one can get in any medium of any creative artistic
Yeah.
endeavor. And they certainly, I think, had nothing but good things to say. So I'm going to be happy with that. I want to give you a good shout out, my man, because your analysis is second to none. As a former shot caller, former professional player, digging your brain is just invaluable for not only a caster for myself, but also for all the spectators. So a shout out to you, my friend. And one last thing I want to say, obviously the big recently announced spring championship of North America, the qualifiers, the first qualifier is going to be going on this Sunday. I'm actually going to be casting that on my channel. So excuse me. So you guys can go down to my Twitch channel and check that out. I'll link it in the chat here in just a minute. Follow my channel. And I hope to see you guys there. Going to be casting some of North America's best teams fighting it out for the biggest championship in Heroes of the Storm history. So stay tuned there. Stay tuned for Divergent Gaming next Friday. And I think that's all I got to say about that, man.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, you guys know where you can catch me. Obviously, Twitter is the @TempoDread. My Twitch is at or twitch.tv/dreadnought_heroes. I too actually will be casting the North American qualifiers, the #1 here this week.
Right.
It's actually on Sunday, I believe. I will be casting with Joship Gaming down at his channel, which is going to be twitch.tv/Joship. You can also find it on the Reddit right now. There's a post linking to everything else, and that will be another event that I'm going to be casting. I will be back here again, I believe, with a different co-caster next week. I know who it is, but it's going to be. I'm going to keep that a little secret for the time being. But big hype for that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, each and every one of you guys, for tuning in. Again, if you guys have any feedback, my coaching or anything else, go to Dreadnought Gaming or DreadnoughtCoaching@gmail.com. Thank you again. Shout out to Redrook, Divergent Gaming, and each and every one of you guys, because without you guys, I would not be where I am today. And I guess we'll hopefully you guys tune in next Friday, because I will be back again. And again, Shane, it was a pleasure, man.
Same with you, my man.
All right, everybody, have a good one.